This is an image that I'm trying to recapture, another video, same sort of thumbnail, where a scholar is showing what he believes is a map of the world in ancient Sumer, Babylon. This whole thing has been covered up, in my opinion, and my exclamation here is in question. What is really going on? It got 4 million views, and they're telling a story that is so important to do with our future, with what's going to happen on the 2nd of August 2027. I'm throwing that in again. 3i Atlas went behind Jupiter. I said it was going to do a slingshot move and then sneak around with its big display now in stealth mode. It doesn't need to be seen from here forward as it makes its way to the back of the moon. Yep, they've been past the back of the moon recently. Project Artemis. Artemis means goddess of the hunt. What on earth are they planning to hunt? They don't want the visitors to come and show what's wrong on the earth. Because you and I know what is wrong on the earth. The 1% billionaire powerhouse of every government is looking after itself in the name of profit. They're now robbing each other's oil reserves. We're going back to the Dark Ages, really, where we fight to conquer. And of course, the 99%, you're going to be enslaved. This is just the beginning. By 2027, you're going to see a lot more happening, and this is probably why they've timed it to arrive here. But anyway, this whole story on this little stone you see here explains the Genesis artifact. I'm going to go into great detail shortly. This is the picture of the scholar that got 4 million views. He's showing in like utter amazement. I was mimicking this thumbnail but showing utter surprise. Here he's showing that it's a map of the world. Now there's something going on here, and there's a few little clues that have come forward. Somebody sent me this image here on the right. Same sort of thing, that it's now uncovering the secrets of medicine, yet they throw in this thumbnail. This is one of the most important thumbnails that I had in my story of my first book. Orion rising on the horizon, Pleiades, exoplanet, and then a little exit marks the spot. There's the star next to the star on top of the king's head, showing that 1 and 2, he is the king from that star, riding a cosmic lion dragon. A disc that flies, a combination of man and dragon. This is the dragon man right here. This is everything explaining my work, yet they threw this picture in as uncovering secrets of medicine. Now I think this is where I believe there's intentional confusion here. They don't want you to know what these ancient artifacts mean. The timeline of history needs to conform to a steady progression, starting from very primitive people, slowly gaining knowledge up to today. They made the wheel, and they started making tools, and that's how we progressed up to making great blocks. Yet the great blocks, sadly, are in the earliest part of history. So they have this amazing beginning, lost the technology, biblical flood, crawled out of the mud, and then we're back to being primitive again. But any extreme deviations not fitting this narrative will be blocked from main media. So that is the protocol for any historian, any New Age speaker. If you're seeing they're getting a lot of media attention, that's because they're allowed to. People like me, sitting on my Patreon amount is around about $250 a month. I'm trying to live off. I'm invisible. I'm almost completely invisible. So I need you, the public, to join in with me if you think this is important for what's coming in 2027. Look closely now. That's what I think was a clue towards me, that whoever did that thumbnail showing that, yep, this part with the band of Orion and this part, Orion as a band, same secret, all covered up. One using it as a world map, one saying it's medicine. Come on, let's get to the truth. That is the famous artifact. You can see that the exit marks a spot at the top here. Let's just highlight them. There's the belt stars of Orion, one slightly offset, rises vertically on the horizon to show the way to that. Okay, and we have king riding dragon lion, Pleiades, exoplanet in crescent, and the wing disk that they came in. By the way, that one, the exoplanet, the star, blazing star, usually with 7 rays, and the Pleiades are the theme on the top of most of the seals talking about this ancient secret. And then we spoke about the 7-rayed star with its exoplanet and the Pleiades, showing that he's riding Taurus. There's the wing disk that flies, and the Pleiades look like that to the important star and the exoplanet. So this is what we have, is this broken artifact that's been mended, missing its bottom piece. That's the problem. I had to rebuild that very carefully. I'm going to show in this video how I reconstructed it, because I went from that to that. I'm going to do that in more discussion and clarity as the video progresses. I'm revisiting a very important part of ancient Sumerian history. Archaeologists have been insisting all along that everything about star gods and discs that fly, wing discs, are all religion and imagination. So for them to try and interpret very important artifacts explaining it, they're trying to turn it into something more simple and on the ground. All these images of, for example, this one here with this face and the little rocket man, I've put the head on it that was missing, it was that head. This is a crazy religion, that these depictions of what's in the sky near the Pleiades, yes, the best scholars have agreed this is most likely a depiction of the Pleiades. This is all a religion of crazy belief. This particular one here as well, where Gilgamesh is personifying himself as Orion man, and he holds in his right hand, just like in the book of Revelations, 7 stars. And I believe an exoplanet and the 7-ray sun, which is what this whole story today is about. And he is on a bull. Bull worship started like this because Orion shows the way to Taurus, and that is what's on the back of the bull. And of course, discs that fly with wings were taught that these ancients could stand within, above the ground, was just a religion. Now we cut to this artifact here because that artifact has a very important story to tell. Basically, they found it in pieces. Now I want to question that completely because I think it's been purposely damaged and smashed into pieces. But what you're not being told is this artifact was found with this one. This is the one that I've coined the Genesis stone, that explains everything from the star map to first landing, down a cosmic conduit landing on Earth. And this one is literally the keystone that will explain exactly the most important part in the story, and that's the most important of these 3 stars that has 7 rays of light. Now, when they found it, they said it was in pieces, but strangely, these 2 pieces are missing, okay? What they say they found was this. I can't believe that they could find all those pieces and then not find these 2, because the important part about these 2 is this is what explains it had 7 rays of light. And not just that, it had on the back of it the bottom line of the text that would have been on here that explains literally what the story all means. So what we have in the museum now is the glued together pieces with these 2 pieces missing. Now when you put these 2 pieces back on, you can see that it's a 7-pointed star. Now, why would it be such a big deal to cover up that this was a 7-pointed sun-like star? This one here has 7 rays of light, and it's 2 lines, 2 circles, exactly as what we see on this artifact. This is what it once looked like, and the important thing about it is not just the 7 rays of light, it would have been what's missing on the back here. And this is the part that probably, okay, I don't have all the pieces here, but there would have been a complete bottom line here of what this all means. I believe it was purposely destroyed because of what you're about to see explains the meaning of this star map. One of the things in this text up here, it speaks about 3 kings that follow. I think it's more important, you just take the context, 3 kings. Where do you get a story about 3 kings all together? It's very, very rare. And my argument to date is Orion is shown as 3 stars in a row that are called the 3 kings. But where is it in this artifact? Okay, we've got Pleiades, we've got 3 sun-like stars. It begins on this side right here. in one of the lines here, it speaks of the three kings again. And I was saying this is Orion. 3 markers on the ground that follow from the dog star Sirius. By the way, yes, that is a dog star. It's in the air. The 3 markers on the ground teaching. And then it's also personified as 3 kings. Now what I was wondering is, why don't they show the cross detail on the artifact? This is another artifact here that shows the importance of a cross following the little arrow down to, it looks like a rose, just like the Rosicrucian origins in my opinion, and this man teaching about following the cross to this important, what I believe is the sun-like star of our ancestors, and it has this hieroglyph that explains the cross of the sky. Now why doesn't this artifact have it? Well, look very closely at what the people are wearing. They are adorned with crosses and sun-like stars, and he has 3 in a row even. These are the 3 magi of the ancient story, and the story develops about explaining how they got here, and then we end up with this. This is the elephant in the room. Something very large in the sky. The origin of the word magi, the 3 magi, talking about the 3 kings that follow. Here's the old expression, the 3 magi follow a star from the Orient. The origin of that word, magi, it's interpreting celestial phenomena, stars. Okay, let's look at that part of it. Ancient Sumerian that went into Zoroastrianism. It's a magician or priest. They're personifying stars as magicians, so to speak. These 3 kings are personifications of 3 stars from the Orient. Next clue. This is huge. The Orient original meaning is the direction where the sun rises in the east. Of course, it's all been 3 kings that follow from the east. Pretty much accurate. East is part of it. But the name origin Orient still carries its secret to this day. It means to rise, to align. Orient, orientate. Orion. There is no coincidence here that this name is tied into the orientation of Orion. 3 astronomical bodies align, orient to find the Bethlehem star, the Christ star, the origin star, the reason for the Christmas tree celebration that's been forgotten, to put a star and a beam of light down to the earth from the origin star of all humanity. So, recapping on the star map, Sirius, Orion, Aldebaran, Pleiades. Here is the X that marks the spot, the Genesis star. And of course the biblical reference, can you bind the greatness of the Pleiades with the band of Orion? Where is the band? There it is. There's my... 2005 I was starting to promote this idea that the cross of the churches was of the sky, that Christ lost teachings. He was teaching about the way to find his origin star, which is also, according to the Judas Codex, all of humanity's origin star, because he said Judas was also a descendant of this, as per all people on the earth. And when he comes again in the book of Revelations, he holds 7 stars. His face shines like the sun. 7 stars, the sun halo. This is the star map. This is exactly it. He's showing that personification as Orion man. Orient, Orion. This is Orion man personifying the teaching of the cross. And he's coming with the living light. And we need to understand the importance of this living light, cosmic serpent dragon, the creation. This is the hand of God, literally. So taking that rebuilt tablet, that is the most important part, is this 7-rayed round that I believe is a sun star, one of 3, and there's a second one, and there's a third one in right here. Okay? This is the part that's very, very important. Scholars claim it's a map of the world, a very confusing title, perhaps intentionally drawing attention away from a forbidden truth. The narrative then claims the cross is a map of Babylon. That's Babylon there, and this is a river. Really? Scholars sadly have to follow protocols that star god claims are lies. They therefore pursue a primitive solution. But I believe this particular story showed that it was too close to a lot of secret society symbolism, and this would expose what it really meant. The narrative celebrates the layout of the cities as a mirror of the heavens. Here I have to agree, and this is what they've used as the excuse to make this of the earth, that it's a map of cities and Babylon. Yes, they built their cities to map the position of stars, just like Egypt's pyramids map out a very important part of the heavens where the exoplanet is found. So that is what they've used as an excuse, in my opinion, to throw you off course onto believing this is a map of the world. How can it be Babylon there and it's really the world? You see, there's confusion, absolute confusion. Then the most bizarre land map is claimed. It does not match history. If you look at what Babylon looked like with the river going past it, it does not make that shape at all. The outer spikes are mountains, they say. Really? However, they do not correlate with any mountains surrounding Babylon. The primary two rings suggest a globe with oceans, they say. These two rings. That this is probably some sort of waterway, but then the river comes like in a roundabout way. See the confusion here? It's with oceans next to mountains, sort of like a world map. So let's call it a world map and everybody will be confused. The entire inner crust is a river from top to bottom, they say. And the walled city of Babylon is on both west and eastern sides. See there? That one and that one. These are the sides of Babylon. So, but then they draw a line over it like it had bridges, or the whole city was one giant bridge. Come on, there's something wrong here. Again, absolutely different to the historical layout plan that we're going to look at. The small inner orbs are nearly... Sorry, let me try that again. The small inner orbs are nearby city positions which absolutely do not correlate in reality. The cities that they show named next to these stars of what I believe are the Pleiades, they've named cities after them, they're not in that position at all. So how can you call it a map? Now here's my claim. Astronomical symbols. That's what this is all about. This is not a map of the world. This is not a map of just Babylon. Yes, Babylon mirrored the heavens. I'm going to show you how. It's based on the Genesis stone stela found with this. So this was found with the Genesis stone, which we can look up closely. Based on conclusive pictographic context in many linked artifacts. They're all showing the story, repeating over and over and told in many different ways, all about stars and the place of the ancestors. It's based on textual references as well, with this artifact and all others using this symbol. So the writing that associates with these is speaking about mapping the stars with the cities on the land, fine, that they mirror the heavens, but then they avoid the finer details as crazy religion. Based on 3 secret society references in the same context. I'm going to show those images and you see why I think it's a purposely thought of cover-up. Based on a global ancient repeating star map claim of the origin of the star gods tied to our origins. That's what I'm claiming. Exactly. And the conclusion is it's a star map, place of human origins, place of the ancestors, and we are the descendants of them. So 3 sun stars are in unison as a solar trinity concept. So there's the big outer one with the 7 rays, then the inner one, which is the next one, and then the third one, which is that one right there, that the cross shows the way to. That's how they emphasize the cross is aligned with one of them, of the 3. Ha! And then, of course, 7 rays of light to reference, they are near the Pleiades. I've always said that right from my first book, that they put 7 rays of light because it's tied to the area of the Pleiades. So why not have 7? And 7 orbs above the horizon. They show it rising above the horizon, depicting the Pleiades. All sacred stars celebrated on the ground with city positions in as above, so below. That's where we both agree, but this is a map of the sky, and they're saying how they've named the cities after it. This is not a map of the world, and not an actual map of Babylon. So the sky cross of Orion is used as a way shower to find primary sun star. That's the primary sun star, the one right up here, okay? And exoplanet in crescent. There's this exoplanet, and you'll see why they put it at the bottom, the sun star at the top, crescent at the bottom, because this is our Earth. They put it with our horizon. Remember, a cross on a band? Have you seen that before? Something called a globus cruciger. We're going to look at that. And here is the comparison with the Genesis stone. There's the 7-pointed star right here. 2 circles right there. There's a combination with a cross to tell about one of these 3 stars. Yep, they're throwing that in the middle here. And then, of course, one where they show more of a crescented exoplanet. That's in there too. So all 3 are being told in one clay artifact, which has been mistakenly called a map of the world. Element 1, 7 rays and 2 circles. Element 2, 7 stars of the Pleiades. This is my interpretation. Element 3, the sky cross. Element 4, Earth eastern horizon. Okay, right here. What are the chances that there is something much more important being told here? Like that. Now you might think, oh, okay, I've just drawn that in, 7 stars above a cross and this orb and these bands, just like you've seen, or like the band, there's the band there, right there. Okay, this is a real historical secret society picture. Watch closely. It has a Latin inscription that explains it. Martin Molnagov of Hungary decoded this. And here are the key words. Orbis, orb. This word here, I can't pronounce it. Rotate, it means rotates. Revolve, volve, evolving. But anyway, the word from Latin means rotates. Cross. And then here, it's a bit out of the picture. I'm going to prove it to you when we look at it closely. I think it's S-T-A-T, stat. Static, steady. Cross, steady, orb, rotates. There is the clue. It's telling the story about Earth with a sky cross. The cross is steady and the Earth is rotating. And right up here with the 7 stars, Pleiades in the right position above the cross, there's the X that marks the spot. And that's where we have to find it. So this is not a coincidence. Showing a man that once wore blue and red, holding and teaching about the Globus Cruciger. There's the band on the bottom of it, and the band's touching it. Is it just my artwork? No. It's a very famous painting of the Christ where he shows 3 fingers pointing to 3 suns as a trinity in the sky. Of course, they're not going to say 3 suns, they're just going to say to the Trinity. Showing all those details. Now the last element here is element 5. The sky cross aligns with the sun, star and exoplanet. There's the sky cross. There is the 3rd one. And 3 suns, red, orange, yellow with exoplanet. Stargate ring with sun. That's another option here. This could be a ring Stargate depiction where you're looking through a window to the star map. That probably makes more sense, as well as having this important sun-like star being the reason it's being taught. And then, of course, the Stargate is on the Borsippa artifact, right here, the Omega symbol. And it explains how the cosmic serpent travels through it on its touchdown to the Earth. And they come from the area near the Pleiades. Now, looking at the secret society depictions of, okay, so there's one with a cross. There is a sun-like star with a cross. There is one with 7 rays of light. Okay, 7 rays are shown on this one for some reason. And these funny little faces, I go into great detail in my main 2-hour-plus documentary, but look at the faces. They're telling a story about one being sad, one being bewildered, and this one being happy and winking. The one that the cross aligns with, the bull horns. This is the dragon man again. As you saw in that first artifact, being personified as a living light, and a man, an initiate that becomes the dragon man. All in the main 2-hour documentary, and how it fits with John Dee's monad. This is secret society origins. 2 that have been strangled, cut off. 1 that is active, and the long beak stops the creation from shutting it down. So basically they've gained dominion over the cosmic serpent living light, and it's done by technology, and that's probably not very good for the creation. The creation, I'm pretty sure, will interact if this is used in destructive ways and come back later and stop it. Here's the John D. Monad story. It looks like the crescent also could be horns. It's dual meaning, if you can say. That's on the horizon. Okay, the Ket, they call it. Yep. Dragon Man is the Orion Man. And I believe it's the next Messiah that's coming. It's going to teach about it in the 2nd of August 2027. Explaining the Genesis stone incomplete. That's the layout of the Genesis stone. You can press pause and come back and read it later. It's gone in great detail. I've gone into great detail in the it's almost 3-hour documentary now, the 2-hour plus documentary. You'll see it on my list of videos to watch in order. The 3 Magi. Orion follows through from the Sirius, Orion, then the 3 Magi, the bullseye, through to get to those 3 sun stars. There it is in the sky, near the Pleiades, and then the cosmic serpent coming down, touching down at Babylon. This is the area of Babylon. As above, so below. 3 temples on the ground, 3 sun-like stars in the sky. The Stargate joins the 2 sleeping dragons, 1 active dragon. So it's talking about the 2 that were with knots around them. All in the main 2-hour documentary. How this fits with Helios as a sun god. There he is, 7 rays. The cornucopia with the cluster of 7 grapes. That is the cosmic wormhole with a cross to find the direction to it. And he's holding in his right hand, what do you think? Left hand, sorry. He's holding the sun. And the connection to Lady Liberty with a 7-rayed star, just like this little clay artifact. 7 rays of light to suggest that this is representing Helios, the sun deity, and the torchbringer. And here we have the 7-ray light star as the exit marks the spot on the 1st degree Freemason tracing board. Now, with a lot of respect to the people of these secret organizations that look after each other, they don't want me telling you how to decode their secrets with the Grail and that Grail coming from it. But take it with a pinch of salt. Watch my main extended documentary, how I break this story down from the 3 sun-like stars with the 7 Pleiades, 7 rays of light. That's all we're taking into account in this part of the story. Crosses showing the way to an opening. This is the story of Sumer, ancient Sumer. You follow the sky cross. Other depictions showing the sky cross and an opening conduit. It looks like the sacred feminine. Depictions of the Grail and the XP, which is the Chi Rho. 3 sun-like stars correlating here, and this little pretty pattern matches that. Martin Molotov of Hungary decoded this one, and a very sad dragon with 7 heads. Wonder why it's sad. It's being manipulated. Here's a picture I want to show in greater detail. This is at the earth turns while the crust is steady. That is the grand secret, and it's matching that clay tablet. He's pointing to the 3 suns in the sky. There's another picture of the Christ doing the same thing, same gesture, and on the reflection of this glass you will see those 3 lights. A very famous painting that's now being auctioned. And there it is. There's the Latin, there's the decoding. The cross is steady as the earth is turning. It's a sky cross. It's Orion. We'll start with the Globus Crucica, that which the monarchy hold in their hands and coronations. It is that which has a secret about our star ancestor origins. In the image you see here is the Globus Crucica, a ball or orb with a band across the middle of it and one with a cross on top of it. In this particular one it's got the 7 stars and the Latin inscription beneath it. That is where the secret lies. Martin Molotov of Hungary decoded it. Here is another example of it, with the Latin inscription clearly visible and the cherubim holding it, looking to the heavens. Decode that and you have the answer. So what I'm saying is it's this sky cross, the one that I've shown in all my work, founded in 2003, somewhere around there, that the cross of the churches has the secret of the Bethlehem star. it aligns with something in the heavens. And I'm showing it here very simply. This is what it's showing, the 7 stars of the Pleiades. And you follow through. Sirius rising in the east on the horizon, vertical. It appears especially vertical on the 25th of December. Now this is a date called Sol Invictus to measure something of the sun, a sun-like star in my opinion. And you follow from Sirius through the 3 kings, Orion's belt, through Aldebaran to the secret up here. And here is the Latin inscription. The earth turns while the cross is steady. Okay, so the earth is turning, yet on the horizon as you look east, the cross is steady in the sky. That does not move, but the earth is turning. That literally proves that Orion is the cross of the churches. And here the Christ is seen with his 3 fingers, and he points to 3 objects in the heavens. In my opinion, 3 fingers, 3 suns. Now look at this old painting. I'm not going to mention the name because it's causing too much controversy, but this ancient painting, and the question is, solve the mystery of the 3 faces, the triangular puzzle, and the 3 papal crowns topped with an orb and a cross. The truth will set us free. That's what the Pope wears. There's the orb part. It's got a cross on it. Follow through to this triangle puzzle, and that's what we're going to look at. The 3 faces, I believe, personify 3 sun-star systems, which I've coined the Solar Trinity since 2003. There they are. The 3 suns in the heavens make this down-pointing triangle, the womb of Nut, sacred feminine. I believe that's the Bethlehem star. But you follow, listen to this, the 3 kings follow in the east. Remember that old saying? To find the Bethlehem star associated with the beginnings of the Christ. There are your 3 kings. 3 crowns, 3 kings, all set in vertical alignment through to this triangulation now. So we need to solve what this means. And it's a star map. It's as simple as that. I think that's Aldebaran, and we're watching it rise on Christmas Day when this is totally aligned vertical in the heavens. Solving that. So what we have is the cross of the churches is part of Orion. But would I find one pattern like this to solve this star map, so to speak? Would I find one with a cross beneath it instead of the 3 crowns? Definitely. Here it is. The cross of the Christ. He was murdered on the cross for teaching about his story of his Bethlehem star. That's more like the truth. Here's another Templar one that shows a cosmic serpent connecting 3 heavenly orbs. Okay, those 3 sun-like stars in my opinion. It's personifying with Christ's faces 3 times for 3 different stars. And this one with the cosmic serpent connecting them is another clue to a way to traverse between them, that these ancestors could travel to and fro. It has their faces holding another secret there, and the cosmic puma or cosmic lion for representation of this cosmic conduit. And there's the Globus Crucica. There's ancient manuscripts that speak about the 3 kings and how they hold it and how they bring this forward as flame keepers. However, they decided to keep commoner in confusion. There's records in this book. Look over here. 3 suns. What else can this mean? Churches burning old Bibles that show the secret of the cross or the secret of the 3 sun stars. The Baphomet, totally demonized. Supposed to have a goat's head. It's the human geometry code that she has as wisdom with her head. Sacred feminine, female. She sits above the earth like the Globus Crucica. She has the tree of life at her womb and 3 sunlight stars with exoplanets. And it says on her arm, Solve Kabbalah. Kabbalah, by the way, you'll see in my main 2-hour documentary, is another star map. So that's what we have. Is it solved? There's a lot more to this. Let's look now at that cross of the churches that I proposed. So in the east, 25th of December, Sol Invictus, these rise at night. I think the Pope celebrates it, the Orbi et Orbi. Behind him, as he looks to the east, he is basically watching the rising of Orion with the 3 kings through Aldebaran to find the position of the Pleiades and 3 sun-like stars. But you've noticed something else here if you're very observant. That's a little bit tilted. And I've always shown it as a straight line, just for simplicity and for teaching about it. But it's a little bit bent, isn't it? So, let's Let's have a look at the real shape of it. Orion is a star cross, acts as a way shower to the star of our ancestors. I believe it is the forgotten sacred symbol found in all ancient sites. I propose it also solves the mystery of the cross of the churches. The three kings in the east follow to find the star of the beginnings of the Christ. But there's the problem. It's a little bit bent. Two stars are not quite in a straight line alignment. So if I had to show it exactly, it would look like that. But it doesn't really teach about a straight line cross, does it? The crooked cross. I mean, who would bring that teaching forward? They'd rather just simplify it straight. But now, we're looking at a Sumerian story. I'm going to reverse the story because this artifact that is called I've dubbed it the Genesis Stela. This Genesis Stela has another artifact found with it in the same area of Borsippa. Okay? It has a tablet that is going to be the key in unlocking the cosmic human origin secret, the cosmic serpent dragon line, the conduit wormhole portal of travel from the solar trinity to arrive on Earth. So that's what I've solved in my 2-hour documentary. You can see it, or the Genesis Stella video. We have the heavenly gate, the Omega, the 3 sun-like stars, the Pleiades. Obviously, I'm pointing to them in the sky as well. Scorpio, you're following the direction from the Pleiades. If you had to go on the star program, look where the Pleiades are, then click View Our Sun. It shows the sun is positioned here. So they are traveling in the direction of Scorpio from the Pleiades down to this upside down Omega symbol. That's the right way around. Just symbolize that they come from there in the Stargate. And there's the one on Earth opening, receiving the cosmic conduit. And of course, the shoe to travel, the bird to found civilization. Now let's look at that cross very closely. I'm going to tell the story and then show the artifact, so you can have absolute clear reasoning, like that's how it was meant to be. So we have these 7 stars, just like the Cathar secret of the Globus Cruciger. We have, instead of the large star in the heavens, I'm going to show the most important part in teaching, that it's following the cross to find a sun-like star. So I've replaced it with this being that one. So I've made it large as being the emphasis of what this cross means, to find the star of our ancestors, the sun-like star. And this would be a world in crescent, so I'd show it as a crescent, and I let it touch our world to show that our worlds are united in this way. The world of the ancestors, the world being our world. And now I want to mention this ancient site not far from Babylon, which is called Susa. Susa, you'll see, has a correlation with 3 ziggurats that show Orion's belt. So they're saying, hey, this cross is just like the secret of Susa. Okay, so that's an ancient Babylonian writing. I'm going to say that down there. This is a description we're going to be looking for on an artifact, showing what it all means. There it is. That's Susa, west of Babylon. 2 small ones, 1 large one. Is that not Orion's belt? Question. We will solve that in time conclusively, but for now it's just a theory. So we have that. Let's look at it now. I want to go a little bit more now. If I had to add to this picture, I could add a little bit more detail. The 3 suns that you saw on the Borsippa Genesis stone, they show them 3 differently. One with rays of light, one here as a circle, and one is this half circle, because it's part of a small artifact where it's pretty much cut off. Now let's put those 3 symbols for the 3 suns over, so we still have 3. So there's the main one, the primary one, a secondary one, and a third one. So there are 3 here, and it is blazing as a sun-like star. Now here's the thing. They found an artifact with this exact detail, but you won't believe what scholars have said that it is. Even with the writing that is attached with it, they're still trying to make it a map of the world. Really? Come on. By the way, there's another inscription I want to add on, because this is the secret of the Babylon star map I'm going to show you now. That Susa is the cross, and this whole story, this whole secret of the cross is all encapsulated in Babylon. The Babylon will tell the story of the 3 suns. And there it is. I think you've seen it before. Most of you have. It's supposed to be a map of the world. Not a chance. How it is repaired, digitally repaired. I've had the nerve to show what detail it once had. Scholars could do it, but nope. This little artifact has been shunned. It's been literally left in a real mess of glued pieces. Looks like that. Why would you want to try and make more clarification? Scholars have said there are 7 rays of light around the outside. They've agreed that that's a crescent. They've decoded all the Sumerian writing on here. Here it is. This is the Wikipedia naming of this artifact as the Babylonian Map of the world. Now, they want you to believe that Babylon was a primitive civilization. They didn't know the world was round. They didn't know much about the stars. They were just simple. They just evolved from apes, became obsessed in pyramids for some weird reason, like everybody else in the world, and they spoke of sun gods, and it was a lie. It was a crazy belief system. But this is the story of this artifact, and I'm saying it's a star map. So let's show you how I rebuilt it very carefully. Did you see that? There's no cheating here, so it's basically very smoothly coming together accurately. So everything that I've reconstructed here, scholars have basically said, but there are different scholars saying different things, they all won't work together. Now, what do the writings say? There's writing on the back here. We'll first start with the front side. The beginning of life on earth, in that part of the text. From a great viper, cosmic serpent. Cosmic serpent, okay. Follow the Anzu bird, the scorpion. Okay, that sounds familiar. 15 animals brought to the earth. 3 great kings follow. 3 kings. Keep that in mind. And many animals brought to the earth. Okay. There is the cosmic serpent. Remember, this artifact was found with this Genesis stele from the same site. Now, there's a large mound written, that's that writing in there. Babylon is written on the actual cross, telling that the cross that you see here has ties with the layout of Babylon, in my opinion. That it's the as above, so below monuments on the ground to measure these 3 sun-like stars. Babylon, Urartu, and the flood. Okay, that's where Ararat is. So it's probably this part here, bringing animals, refers to protecting animals, or maybe they're talking about the beginning of the Genesis of Babylon, where they brought all the animals from somewhere else. I mean, a cow and a sheep have been said to have such weak bone structures like us humans. Maybe they came from the same place we came from. That says Suzu. That's the city that I just showed you. Now we have the text from the back of the tablet. Follow 7 Nagu. Distance 7 Nagu. Okay, so it's a measurement of distance, what in the sky, in my opinion, because the next line that follows pretty clearly after that, a bull with horns, in my opinion, Taurus, rises on the horizon. That's what I'm teaching about the star map. So this probably here is the horizon. A gate, 2, sun. There's a lot of broken text on the back part of this tablet. A window with 4 directions, 4 cardinal points. So it's showing probably east here. You're looking easterly direction, looking from the west. So west will be down here, and then north and south on each side. There's a Freemason star map that has got all that details and maps this out in their star map window, in my opinion. Purely just my opinion. The Urartu story has a cross of the churches. You can see even the Templar style that they're holding, and 3 temples with 3 portals shown in it, and I'm pretty sure it's 3 stargates. There's the Orion symbol as well, the star above it shown almost as a cross, and the cosmic dragon serpent, often seen as a cosmic lion dragon serpent. There's so many different traditions that have evolved. So that's what we have for this one. Now there is the big breakthrough in this artifact. Rises on the horizon. That's exactly what I need to basically prove this. Let scholars now look at this a little bit closely. So here's the Babylon area. I've shown it in white. There's the Euphrates River. They're saying that this map of the world, they believe that they were the world and nothing else mattered, and the Euphrates is a straight line, or slightly tilted as you see here, no match. And we have Babylon on one side of the river. This is all farmland. There's no artifact excavation going on in this side from what I can find. It's basically housing developments all over here and farmlands. So does Babylon make that shape? Absolutely not. There is the area of Babylon up close. 3 ziggurats. Saddam Hussein's palace was built on them. He restored them into mounds. There were ziggurats once, but he restored them, and there is the city of Babylon, probably the story of the Hanging Gardens and the Tower of Babel. In my opinion, what do you think I'm saying here? 3 in a triangulation? That's what I'm saying. Now here's the Freemason star map. You'll see it's got the cardinal points on all 4 sides. There's a window, Pleiades, 3 sun-like stars, a hand with the Holy Grail. This one has 7 rays of light, just like the artifact. 7 rays of light. Okay, these are the different suns, and I believe that's a Pleiades correlation that once was a lot more accurate, but again, with restoration, maybe there's a few missing here, but it's hard to say. Right, now we're going to look at the Hermetic story. I've got a video on this artifact alone, on Hermes, explaining what I believe it is, but look at the details here, okay? Globus Chrysica, a ring, 7 celestial bodies, the Grail is there as well, a 7-pointed star, the world and the cosmos, as above, so below. These are the parts that match this ancient artifact. 7 orbs, ring portal across on the world. There it is. Pretty much the same thing. So, is that just a coincidence? Probably not. Looking at other Sumerian artifacts with those pointed stars for planets, this is not a map of a city. These are not little towns nearby. Nothing really correlates. And it's the sky. And they show the 3 suns all differently here, just like they show on this Kuduru. There's Scorpio. There's many Kudurus, by the way. And I'm using all those symbols that I've decoded to tell the story in my Genesis Stellar documentary, or the 2-hour documentary. Now let's look at what the Aztecs say. What is that symbol there? Looks like a cross. And here's how I show it. And of course, I think that ring, again, just like in the Sumerian artifact, is recording a Stargate device. Because there's another interesting part here. Okay, there's my Pleiades correlation theory. Okay, but there's a little bit more happening here. There's my Orion interpretation, by the way. And the cosmic serpent is there, the outer ring. There are those cosmic serpent dragons. That's the size of it. This is one of the earliest pictures of it, but have a look at that part that's sticking out very closely. Okay, I believe it was once a plugstone for a device. Remember, this was found flat, buried beneath the ground. The excavation, no footage of when they were digging it up. They probably found something. I think it's a Stargate. Just like the movie fictionalized it to hide fact with fiction. And it fits over it and stops it from being active, to try to stop the gods from returning. They were afraid. So that's the artifact, decoded. In my opinion, we have that is a similar story. It has 7 rays of light, which I forgot to mention. We have the story of the Globus Chrysica. We have the Hermes artifact. It's all the same style, telling the secret about the heavens. It's a star map, one that is repeated in virtually all the world's megalithic civilizations. And that's what it's looking like today. So the Genesis stone, there it is right there. This is the part that I believe matches the secret of the stars. We're going to talk about this in great depth as the story develops. There's more to come. And this is the key in decoding the Genesis stone. They were both found in exactly the same place. Now, let's move to another story, the Japan UFO, because there were alien hieroglyphs that need to be decoded here. And I want to compare it to this artifact. So we're going to look closely at this artifact, those hieroglyphs. Okay. I believe the 2 parts here are basically speaking as above, so below, and there are 3 orbs in contention, and then a bit of a story about them in between. And I think that is a reference for either the swastika or the cross of the church as being Orion's belt. You can see it makes like an 8 symbol, which is what you see here in the Orion's belt part in the middle. Or was it once a swastika, but it's rising on the horizon right there. That's the big piece of this information. And now what does that mean? Pretty much the same as what we saw in the Babylonian artifact. Okay, cross, okay, and 2 orbs on each side of it. That's exactly a match in this case. But that's one document of this ancient Japanese UFO. Here's another one. Let's have a close look at that one. Zoom in. Okay. Something different happening here in the middle section, but that's the same. So they got that right. But this author that wrote this codex in ancient Japan is taking these three differently. So these we know, same thing. Right, here's that symbol again. Here's more of a match. On the horizon again, correct. But now look here. Instead of a cross joining the two, it separates them as I've done shown in the Globus Cruciger. There's the Globus Cruciger. It still works. There's a Globus Cruciger teaching to find that one, the one that's above the cross. Coincidence? Probably not. Very good friend of mine, Jim Peniston, I had a chance to speak to him about my theory on what I think he saw on that UFO, because people have already compared it to the Japanese glyphs as being very, very similar. But let's look at his exact detail. Jim saw this on the side of the UFO. That funny symbol, that one which is important in my research, these here. But when he touched this round one, there's three orbs here. One big one, middle size, and a small one, and a triangulation teaching about it all. And when he touched it, he downloaded in his mind, like a electric shock, a lot of binary coding that he could actually repeat and draw it out on a sketchbook, digit for digit. Wow. Millions of ones and zeros. How's that even possible without having some kind of photographic memory experience? And what I think it's showing is the three suns near the Pleiades. Pleiades? Hang on a sec. Jump back one. I believe that symbol there is a symbol for the leg of the bull being the Pleiades, and it's teaching about this. And this tells the story about the leg of the bull. Okay, so there's the Pleiades, leg of the bull. That's what I think it is. Let's go to look at all the symbols. Compared to Egyptian symbols, is it a coincidence that the celestial ship is a boat with its own little terra firma underneath it, as you see here in the UFO papyrus, which is in my 2-hour documentary? And that symbol is very similar to it, so it could be talking about the celestial ship itself, where he saw the hieroglyphs on the side of it. Then, of course, the leg of the bull symbol in the 2-hour documentary, you'll see all variations of it. I think that is a match. The three orbs with the triangle being as above, so below, the triangulation of the stars above the pyramids. That's where the other symbol now seems to have that correlation. So these are just my opinion. It's all teaching about these stars in the heavens, and they are from there. This is like putting your flag on a spaceship. Okay, this area of Sutton Hoo is right there next to where they found the UFO, where the UFO landed, and Jim was able to touch the side of it. Now, Sutton Hoo is an ancient site, and I propose it as a star map of the Pleiades. These mounds are very, very good match with the Mars pyramids that are so as the Pleiades. Now, let's have a look where that UFO landed. Here is the airbase that Jim was stationed at, and he was the one that went out in 1980 to go and look where this UFO landed. It landed here. Here is the Sutton Hoo Mounds. Okay, there they are, right there. So you've got one side, and you've got the Rendlesham Air Base. Okay, or was the Woodbridge? I'm not sure the true name for it. Let's call it the Air Force Base. But look at the shape of the Air Force Base. Coincidentally, and this is definitely a coincidence, it's in the shape of the leg of the bull. Now, the ancients visiting it might say, oh, they understand the meaning of Sutton Hoo, and they've drawn this in the correct positioning to another geoglyph that seems to be ancient. This area here, there's this weird, I say, the remains of a geoglyph, or what looks like a bull with bull crowns. And perhaps the star visitors realized, or thought that they realized, that this airbase to travel the heavens, okay, an airbase for our primitive air travel in the heavens, they seem to be acknowledging the importance of their airbase with the position of the bull. Because that's my stomach. Pleiades, follow from the Pleiades leg to the sun, and they landed right here, right over there. Isn't that amazing? Right there, and there's the little car park where you can park now. They've even got a little model UFO there. Okay? And I believe it's matching the Egyptian teaching of the sun behind the bull's head, which is the Apis bull, and the portal, the cosmic serpent, and the initiate with the Omega symbol and the Alpha symbol. That the story of the Alpha Omega is tied to this. All of my 2-hour documentary, Behind the Bull of the Cosmos, Taurus. Why is that bullhead geoglyph a good theory? Because Göbekli Tepe has exactly the same geoglyph that has not been covered by scholars, because they don't want you to think of aliens being real. I don't want you to think of advanced civilization. This is an area that is covered now with a roof, so you can't see all the circles that make the shape of the Pleiades. Right, like that. It would have once looked like that, in my opinion, with even an enclosure around it, positioned with two ancient, important sites that are not being excavated as far as I know. There's one that you can see clearly that there's something there, okay, and there's another one here. Strange that as far as I know here, they're not being excavated yet. These are very important monuments. You can see that the circle shape stands out, yet they tend to ignore it. And of course, Göbekli Tepe also has the bull with the sun on it, just like Egypt. So that was my theory of what Göbekli Tepe stands for. It's a star map. Once looked like that. That it's Taurus, showing the way. Follow the leg of the bull to the star of the ancestors. In this story, I'm going to cover another Babylonian artifact that has a piece on it broken and was never ever reconstructed. I'm questioning, was it purposely broken to hide the story of three sons, or did it just have little interest? It's a stupid story about belief in giants. I don't think the giant thing is real. It's just showing that an important king, they're shown big to be important. That's all it is. Always standing more in the forefront, they're more in the background. But this is called the artifact, Circadian Victory Stela of Narim Sin in the Louvre in Paris. Was the artwork intentionally damaged to hide an elite society's secret? Let's reconstruct this very important artifact. People that are climbing up a very, very large mound, perhaps this is the background of the mound, and they are looking up at the sky at what's missing. Let's rebuild it. So this is the person that found it. Was he a member of a special elite society where they either damaged it or tried to hide its meaning? That is the question that remains. Now, what we have in this artifact, if you look very closely, are the remains of a bit of a pointy part and a square part, which is just like the bottom part here. We have flat parts and pointy parts, okay? See there? Those little pieces mean it is exactly a match. So we can reconstruct it. Okay, so let's put these pieces, missing pieces of the puzzle back digitally. Okay, now watch very closely. That's very, very accurate reconstruction, matching every little piece, okay? Now we have something that matches the Genesis stela of three suns. In my discovery that these are three suns, it's not the sun, the moon, and Venus. It's near the Pleiades. It's tied in with a cosmic serpent, and it's above this. What is this mound? There's my decoded Genesis stela. It's a match in that case. And we have all the other ancient records of these three suns, Pleiades. Here's Orion's belt. In this position, they're only showing the king's crown with the sun-like star and the most important one, and its exoplanet. Here again, showing the cosmic womb opening in three orbs. Is it three suns? I'm not sure about that one. I think that one's actually a comet, and he's on the back of the bull. And there are many others. This three sun-like story is quite likely. Now I'm showing a little bit more. Notice, let's just take it back a second. There's a bit of space here. And by the way, I've gone to the exact same edge of what scholars say it once had. There's a little bit of space here, and you've got this perfect equilateral triangle. That's probably not a coincidence either. So I've put in the Pleiades to match all those seals that you've just seen. The Pleiades was comet, so it most likely had the Pleiades, and I think this is in support of the theory that it was purposely damaged. Right, so this is the deity of Taurus, in my opinion, because he's got the bull crown. Okay, we have a celestial monument. Hang on a sec. In my previous video on the ziggurats and on that new star map that I've decoded, shows a monument for Babylon. These are monuments, most likely. Was it a beam of light? The jury is still out on this one. Let's try and decode that. So we're showing those three suns in the Pleiades, okay, in that position. Let's just turn it around to match how I showed in my documentary. Pleiades, leg of the bull shape. These three sun-like stars are real. The Hubble telescope shows them, but this one has moved from there to here. And the Tikal star map I showed in my first book in 2002 matches the Pleiades, most important temple being that one. There's an extra temple here, and there's another tiny one here matching that. This is real. This is my star map theory from 2002 for Tikal of the Maya. The Mars one is the most accurate of all. The correlations here are mind-blowing. And there's the face saying human life from the star. But then there's the human code that fits in that one to match that one, saying we evolved from apes here, colonized the star system, and the people that came from here to our Earth celebrate that one as their place. They were the people that were in exoplanets around that one, in my opinion. It helped lead me to find the story of Atlantis, looking in the Atlantic Ocean, finding that on the ocean bed, and finding ground zero, remains of two circular canals. Part of my Atlantis story for that group of stars that are real. Okay, now let's get back to our little star map, okay? It shows it in that position, so the Pleiades is shown in different sort of positions. Let's turn it around. So we have that. I believe that's the correlation. Okay, let's look a little bit closer here. Oh. There is the match with the Freemason star map. Now, please, this is a theory of mine, nothing more than that. We'll know in a long time if it's real or not, because I take this into great detail. We measure 33 degrees of arc on the horizon. Coincidence in arc distance from there to that sunlight star, there is that line, is 33 degrees of arc. 3 pillars on the ground, as above, so below. There's a grail in here, okay? With those 3 suns matching. Here's the picture with the close-up of the Grail. The Grail, I've said, is also a star map celebrating the birthing of the sun disk from the 3 suns, the chalice, the sacred feminine pointing down, and the sacred masculine pointing up as Orion's belt, a male anatomy of the Egyptian theory that it was Geb on the ground. That's his male anatomy pointing to the heavens, and the birthing of someone in the birthing position, if that is a womb. Confirming that. By the way, 3 other symbols here that I've decoded in my 2-hour documentary, all for Orion's belt. The Europa star map, 1, 2, just like the Sumerians, see they show it differently. One with an exoplanet, 7 stars, and a very big one with a door in it, where Abraham steps out in the most bizarre fashion, where he's pulled his arms out of his sleeves, made his arms cross, with his sleeves crossed. Now, to do that, you've got to go to great effort to get your sleeves to look like that. And I believe he's showing the secret of the double cross of Orion. Orion is made up out of 2 crosses intersecting like that, and that's his secret. So again, 3 suns, with the portal from the most important one, Egyptian artifact showing the Stargate, the initiate coming out of a lotus flower that's opening, the cosmic serpents are tied in with temples opening, and this artifact is pretty much like the Ankh because they've got the little Shen symbols with serpents coming out of them to the 3 suns, and this is what it looks like when you look down on the lotus flower, symbolic of the opening conduit, and then Tutankhamun's name in it. He was one of the gatekeepers of the Tau Cross. Ancient aliens, the connection between these deities, they made it to try and, in my opinion, teach about the people that look after life on this earth. Little android grey aliens. The triptych, a large portal, 2 smaller portals behind the Christ in this position. These triptych symbols that you'll find in holy places all around the world. Ancient Egypt, the Incas, Paris. That, in my opinion, celebrates 3 portals to 3 sun-like stars. Those 3 sun-like stars. There's been a recent development on the story of ancient Babylon and the Tower of Babel. There's been a lot of speculation where this Tower of Babel is, and there's another piece of the puzzle that proves not just the Tower of Babel, but its Egyptian connections from its design and how it fits in relationship to Babylon. Right, so what we have here is Babylon. Saddam Hussein has rebuilt these 3 ziggurats to be mounds. Sadly, recently I found that these building of the structures around here were building reconstructions. They were not ziggurats. There's nothing ziggurat anything about here. We need ziggurat ruins to put a star map together. So I always thought this was the Pleiades. But we need to look at a new contention, the area where the waterway makes this beautiful lake next to this monument here. Because it's quite likely it had one definite island, that there was another 6 to go with it. And I'm proposing that this is why they chose this for the Pleiades. It's got this blue water. The Pleiades has a blue light around it. It's a perfect way to show, like in the Nile, representing the Milky Way. It's quite likely that because the cosmos has all this H2O gas that makes the Milky Way, that the nebulas as well have a huge amount of water content. So the Pleiades Nebula is surrounded by water. It follows reasoning and logic. So let's take that into account. So what we have here is my star map. Right, so having a look at that star map. Now, what's important with this story is the story of Borsippa. As I said in the first part of this three-part series on the secrets of Babylon, Borsippa is where they have this amazing ruin of a ziggurat. Now, scholars have said because of the strange inner core that you see right here, it is made of fired brick and not just mud brick. So it's solid. Let's call it like we have in modern days today, an internal core structure, as if it was made to hold something a lot more than just a normal ziggurat. So I would agree with scholars for that reason alone, but I'm going to add 2 more reasons why we believe this was once the Tower of Babel. There it is right there. That's the position of Babylon. And why would it be positioned here? There are no other ziggurats around here. So this is the nearest, biggest and largest ziggurat near Babylon. So, as I said earlier, my Genesis artifact that explains the star map and origins of humanity coming from one of these 3 sun-like stars, lands on Earth, found the Earth, 3 temples on the ground to match the 3 suns in the heavens. And that was found at Borsippa. Right, so we have a story about the tower right over here. I'm not sure if any of these represent the tower, but that definitely with the active serpent, but that jury is still out. We don't know about that one. But then the next artifact that we found near it was actually another star map, which I've shown in my part 1, which you can go back and see if you haven't seen it. But there's now a 3rd one. The rebuild of this artifact. This part was completely damaged and it was put together exactly as you see here. Question is, what mound is this? Is this the Tower of Babel? That is the question. We're going to try and prove or disprove it. So let's start with that area of ruin, and I think it was that. And I'm going to show you why I think it was 7 tiers and how it has this weird shape that matches that artifact because of an Egyptian story. This is the Tower of Babel at Borsippa, and I'll show you why. To reach the place of 7 stars. 7 tiers might also represent that it's 7 layers to make 7 stars to complete what is in the heavens. But remember now, this is Babylon in the distance. Okay, think about it now 2-dimensionally on the ground. And if that area that I've just spoken about was the Pleiades, it's in this sort of orientation, and we have that on the artifact, we have a breakthrough. It's the Egyptian story of Geb fertilizing Nut, the heavens, the earth god Geb, shown green. That's his male anatomy where they built this obelisk in Egypt. That is part of the earth. It's the earth obelisk, phallic symbol that fertilizes the rising stars in the heavens, like that. So they built this monument, which is the exit marks the spot next to the pyramids of Abu Simbel that match the Pleiades correlation you'll see in my star map, Egypt. And of course the Grail, same thing, the male anatomy, this bottom part, the womb, the chalice, the blade, and the chalice, okay, is three sun-like stars making the chalice up there, right? And then it's Orion fertilizing Nut, and of course it births the host, the celebration of the bloodline. I think in Sumer they have the same story, where this is the part that represents the human-earth connection, the earth fertilizing the heavens, so to speak. And of course Orion's belt. Now imagine if you climbed on top of this in Borsippa in ancient times, what would that person see at night especially? There is the big breakthrough. On the horizon, in the distance, he will see Babylon, three big ziggurats, as that which mirrors the heavens, as above, so below. That is a big breakthrough, in my opinion, to prove that Borsippa ruin was once the Tower of Babel. Just like that. Going through the Egyptian symbology, there's the Nut womb being fertilized, so to speak, and all obelisks represent the sun beam of light from the coming down to earth from the sun star. So the obelisks represent suns, and in this case Orion's belt with the largest one. As you've seen in my 2-hour documentary, which follows at the end of this video, the beam of light from a star in the Egyptian Senmut tomb. Then there's the blazing star on the first degree tracing board, beam of light from a 7-ray sun-like star, in my opinion. And of course the Hebrew Key of Solomon parchment, a star with 4 little orbs around it, beam of light down to the earth. The Grail, as I'll show you, the male anatomy, the female womb, made from 3 sun-like stars, celebrating the birth of the sun host for the bloodline of humanity. And it's happening here on Earth in the United States. We all know the largest obelisk ever built on the planet is the Washington Monument. People go there to celebrate the Christmas tree and the star on top of it. Very few realize that the two basically represent exactly the same thing as you see in the Egyptian tomb. A sun-like star, beam of light down to earth. Gods all populate the earth. But there's also Stonehenge here. Here's the 3 up close, okay? Stonehenge strangely has 4 little mounds that has the human code 5-pointed star and the causeway, very much like the Solomon Key with those 4 little orbs, which I believe represent 4 exoplanets around the sun-like star. And here it is measuring from the Lincoln Memorial over the watery pond, water holding area. It reflects that which is in the sky, and you can measure 33 degrees of arc from Orion's belt to find that sun-like star. And I believe all of this represents the origin of the Yule tree. This is celebrating Human Origins Day. It's just my opinion, and scholars in time will be able to say if it's more than just a theory. You can read what I've written here, press pause, because it's basically a very important secret. That's what Washington looks like from above. We have the area of Roslyn and Arlington making, coincidentally, the leg of the bull shape. The buildings even illuminate at night, very close to the star positions. Here is the Washington Monument obelisk, and here is the Pentagon with what I believe is a north pointer. It's almost like showing it's a map of sorts, and that's how it represents, in my opinion, the star map. And this is what is on Mars, exactly the same 5-sided monument with a north pointer, and on Mars, strangely enough, it makes that shape on Mars. Just like you see at the Pentagon. Is that a coincidence? You can decide, but there's the exit marks, the spot on the Mars star map. See it in the 2-hour documentary. Look at the correlations when you take a photograph of the Pleiades and the positions of the monuments. Even these small little bits that you see around here, they all have correlating stars. What are the odds on that? To match that. And speaking about the leg of the bull, this is the Ritmeyer archaeological rebuild of the old wall of what was around the city of David, making, in my opinion, the shape of the leg of the bull, because the hill of Caiaphas Palace, where Christ was judged, I think, where Caiaphas proclaimed that he he was not a Messiah. It is just like the Egyptian exit marks the spot with the obelisk with the gold-capped capstone. Just like the Tower of Babel, in my opinion. Just a theory. And of course, the Hill of Sion also matches with another sun-like star. It's quite sad that all of this is causing discomfort, and one civilization believes they're better than the other, some chosen by God and some not. Now, there's another ancient painting. Not that ancient, to be quite honest. It's shows, in my opinion, Pleiades and three suns. But they've drawn it in a very weird way because it's the famous painting in the Florence Cathedral by Domenico di Michelino. And a man with important knowledge showing pictographically what's in the background here. Large, big hill with people running around it, okay? An angel interacting with a gate system inside it, which in my opinion is a stargate. And then they show the stargate here with a bull-crowned green entity. Green. Okay, really? Why does that look so familiar? Ah, bull-headed crown deity. Okay, match. A mound with people all around the bottom. Remember, the whole artifact has a lot of people climbing it. I believe you've got a match here. The star map in the heavens. Coincidence? Maybe not. For that artifact, look at all the people climbing up it. Same thing. This, I believe now, is that mound, an ancient mound to teach about the origins of male and female. In my opinion, this is secret knowledge of a very advanced society, scared to talk about it in the past, and that's why they remained hidden. Esoteric manuscripts of dragons, too, that have been cut off, two cosmic conduits choked, and this one's laughing, smiling with a cross beneath it. That's John Dee's monad. That's decoding John Dee's monad. And the beaks, the ability to have control. Bent beak, bewildered beak, and a very developed beak that has control over dominion of the cosmic conduits. Nostradamus says it too. Orion's belt, the initiate, burnt, being tortured and hidden. This secret has been tortured in history. There's the cosmic circuit's tail that's coming alight with the cluster of Pleiades and the exoplanet and Orion cross secret. The papal records of three orbs, eagle finding civilization. The wreath represents, in my opinion, the cosmic conduit, and we have the three kings of the Pope with two crosses, one about the origins of spirit, one about the origins of the bloodline, in my opinion. Take it with a pinch of salt. Showing that, as above, so below. In my 2-hour documentary, I'll take this all in a new direction. What I stand for is equality in every human being. People are given the gift of life to make what they can out of it and be rewarded in the afterlife according to how they live.
With the earlier Sumerian clay tablets' precise version of the cosmic human origin star map, and how it matched the template at Stonehenge, would come the mindset that had Herschel set out to search the Atlantic Ocean seabed. It would be this clue that would culminate in this documentary's biggest revelation.
As the world was counting down to 2012, I was watching Google Earth, looking for ruins, refreshed my page, and I saw that. I recognized that curvature from somewhere. This could be a computer code. I think it's first contact. The ancients are returning. I've published a book, Herschel's Atlantis, and there's a 2-hour documentary you'll see at the end of the video. These are my 3 books. I'm trying to promote Saving Forests, $19 for all 3, 1 delivery. I am now making something very special available to all my patrons. All my patrons who join the quest will be in contact with me directly from that day forward to 2027. Not just that, all my patrons who pass the 2,000K mark, or activists, who are going to be the people bringing this quest forward after 2027, they will also be given the keys to the vault, this extra secret knowledge, and they will have copies of it for all my work to be brought forward. Even if computer systems go down, they will be repaired one day. They will reactivate that work and prove all the work that I've done over 20 years. They'll also be invited to be present at a last-minute secret meeting point at First Contact. My patrons, who are all at the top of the group that I've defined here will be with me on that day at a special location to view this solar eclipse.